So hello, in this video we're going to create the rest of the roof members. So I'll select this roof, right click and go to override graphics and view by element, and I'll make the roof transparent by up to 40. You can see the roof members under. You can see the ridge. So let's go ahead and create the hip rafter. So for this hip rafter, we'll go to the elevation where it's visible. So that is this elevation, the south elevation. So let's make sure that we are in the shaded mode. Okay. And then for this rafter, we'll create a new reference plane. So type RP and we'll draw the line for the reference plane along this line. Click and drag your mouse. Make sure that it's straight along the line. So for me, I'll click at this point so that I don't miss it. And then click to name this reference plane. So this is going to be the hip rafter. Hip rafter reference plane. Good. So we have our hip rafter and it's showing us an angle up there. And then we'll go back to the roof level and we will say go to architecture. I want to set our working plane. So we want to pick let us come to this point and pick that hip rafter. So if we pick the hip rafter, we say okay. Then we go to beams. We go to structure and then beam. So you see our dimension 2x6 lumbar is there. What we want to do now is draw it from here up to the ridge. And so you see that it's extending more than it. Let me go to the 3D and look at it. You see our lumbar is extending more than the roof and the ridge. So we can drag it up to this point so that it meets there. And then come over here and drag it down to the height of the ridge. And then we see that it is higher than this point. So let me look at it in the south elevation to see the height. So when we look at that, we can go for top to see what happens. Apply. Okay, so it's come down to this point, but it's not at the bottom of the roof. We want everything to be under the roof, just like this ridge is. So at this point, let's check our offset value is 1.5. So let's make this Z offset value 0 and apply. So right now it's exactly where we want it to be, and it's just at the ridge. So pull it up a bit and come to this ridge and pull it back a bit. So that's two of them at that point. And so we're going to mirror. We'll go back to the roof level and we mirror this hip rafter to get this one. Okay, so come to this hip rafter, select it, and we'll drag it more to the edge, and then mirror it. I'm going to pick this, and then come to the center and draw a line. This is the mirror line, and so good for that did not mirror, so I select it again, go to mirror with drawing an axis, and we see that this is copy is highlighted, so that is mirroring a copy. And so come here and then draw on the axis and click. I don't know, it's opening a setting for the lumbar, but this time we see that it has mirrored. So we have this mirror of the hip here, and at this point, so So in order to do, go to roof level, in order to do the ridge for this biggest, or let's say the widest part of our roof, we go to the view where it is, the side view of that place. So I go to east, I check. If the east is showing it in elevation, that means it will be in the north or south, or the north or south will suffice. So we can see the tiny spot for the ridge from here to here. So let's do RP for reference plane, and then click here, and then click, and then click to name. Click to name. I'm going to call this ridge number 2. Ridge 2. Okay. And we have ridge 2. We'll create another hip rafter. Okay. So RP onto this point and click to name, and this will be H hip rafter 2. And click. So we have 2 planes now. So the first one is for the beam. So first we go and set the working plane. Set the plane to be our ridge number 2. Pick a plane and pick a ridge number 2. Okay. So it says go to the view where that is. We're in the elevation. We cannot work in the elevation. So let's go to roof level and make sure, let's check our working plane. Set working plane, ridge 2. Okay. So now I can pick my structure, beam, and then I come over to this place and the beam. I go over here, click and draw. My mouse is active, so beam. I click here and I draw the lumber. Over here, click dimension lumber and draw it to here. Okay. So going to the say north or south elevation, you see that it is up there. So let's select it and give it a bottom until it changes. No. So if we double click on it, that's what happens. So click on it first. Oh my goodness, my mouse is over hyperactive. So select and then come to the Z justification and set it for top, apply, and no offset value, so 0 here. Mm-hmm. 0 and apply. So it's directly under that point, and we want to reduce it to this width that we need. So I'm dragging it to stop here. Good. So now we have our second ridge, and then now we're going to have our hip rafter. So back to architecture, no, structure and beam. That was it. That is one of the settings, but we're not going to change any settings. So go to the roof level, and then for these places, we have our hip rafter too. So in architecture, we'll set the working plane, pick a plane, and it will be the hip rafter, to be the hip rafter number 2. Okay. And then we go for the structure, pick the beam, and we will draw one in. Okay, so we have that one, and we go on to the north elevation to look at it. So If yours is hanging like mine, all we need to do is select it and drag it in place. Pull it to the edge and then pull this back. So we have no, Control Z for undo. Control Z, no. If I undo too much and then I redo. Okay, so I redo that and then I'll select the, oops, this over, no. So I'll select the rafter, the hip rafter, and I drag it back. So the arrows first. Click outside, select it. So I'm going to click and select it. And then I will drag it back. So the second arrow takes it back. And select, drag it back. Okay, so we have it on its plane. Now we want to set the height, no Z offset value. So we're gonna have this as 0, backspace. So this will be 0 offset value, and this will be justified to the top, apply. So we have it under that plane, and at this point we can drag it to meet this. And we're going to mirror it to appear on the other side. So roof level, and now I have it in this plane here where I don't want it. Where I want this is on this other side. So I'll mirror it here and then mirror it there. So mirror, I'll come here, select this and click here. Oops, close. So we mirrored it, but that's not the half point. So I'll select this and move it to the point where I want it. Go straight to this edge. Okay, so I need to check it out to make sure it's okay. I'll delete this one. I'll select this one and delete it. And still go back and look at my elevations. Not okay, so this shows because it was darker then. So that would have told me that it's not the right position. So go back to the roof level, and then we want to mirror this hip rafter. I selected it and we'll draw the hip, the mirror to, let me see the triangle, that's the center. And then draw a straight line down. As a result of over-clicking, where this comes up, you close it, as the box used to set properties. So let's look at a 3D view. Go to the south. Not notice it there. So see our roof is coming out. We have the hip rafters and ridges. So let's look out for another ridge. This, my roof is complex. If you have a simpler roof, good for you. So I have one to all the horizontal parts at the top of the roof are the ridges. So I've done ridge here, ridge 2. So the next one will be this one, ridge 3. Ridge 3, ridge 4, and then ridge 5. And the roof will be in place. So for this third ridge, I need to come to this view. Again, facing here. And I'll come here and right click. Go to view, to elevation view. And so in this elevation, I can see the one behind. I see the one behind, but what about the one I want now? So look at the roof level. And take note of the roof level we want now. So this roof is in between the first and second ridge. The height is in between because this loop shows the change in level. Come here and then another change in level. So I'm going to go back to the elevation where it was showing. So right click on this, go to elevation view. And now I noticed that that roof was halfway between, not halfway, but lower than this or higher than this. So look out for that roof. And this is the line for that roof, this point, where this point meets this point. So we want to draw the ridge, and for that, we need to go to the elevation that shows the ridge. So this is the ridge. At this view, it will appear as a straight line, like where two triangles meet. But we want to see the side view of the ridge. So we'll go to this elevation, go to elevation view. And so from this view, we can see that this is the highest point. I'm going to make it a wireframe so that we can easily tell what's going on. Okay, so from this view, we can see that this is the highest point, and it comes down to this point before coming down to this other point. So we have another high point. Let's see. Go back to the roof to not to be confused. We have this point, and then there's a little height, and then this one. So go back to the east here, that was the right elevation. So it's came down just a little, and so this is the ridge we're looking for from here to here. So we know how we did that. We had the reference plane. So RP, and we'll come here and draw our reference plane 3. So let's say this will be the ridge 3, ridge number 3. We'll click first before renaming. Okay, so ridge 3 and the next reference plane. And for each ridge, we have a hip rafter. So that hip rafter will be this one. So another reference plane. So RP, save my project. Reference plane is to come and draw this from this point. So I'm going to click the name. And this will be the hip rafter 3. So we have another reference plane. So we have the ridge number 3, which is here, and we have the hip rafter number 3. So for us to draw this ridge, we'll go back to the roof level, architecture, set reference plane. We're going to set the plane for ridge number 3. Click on it. No, that's fine. Click on. We said pick a plane. So ridge number 3 is what we're picking. Let's say pick a plane. Ensure that ridge number 3 is here. And okay. So now when we go to beam, architecture, structure, beam, and the lumbar will show. We'll come to this point that we want to put the lumbar. So I'm having the beam. Click and then drag it. Okay. So it's going to one side of this. And I'm going to have to move it to see why is it so wide. I go to 3D view to see what is making it huge. Okay, it's slanted. That's why it's not straight. Okay, so I'll go back to my roof level. And we see that the ridges are straight, not slanted. So I'm going to try that again, delete, and beam, and click here. Oops, I move my roof, Control Z for undo. Beam, setting is okay. So it's a cancel, I don't want to change any settings. For now, I have the beam, I've set my working plane. So I'm going to click at this point and drag it to this point. Still slanted. So we have a problem here. We'll go to the north elevation, south elevation, the elevation in the east. Okay. So this comes down. We're trying to draw the ridge for this reference plane. For the reference plane, we put the reference plane for ridge 3. So we'll go to the roof level and then architecture, set plane. No wonder, pick a plane, and it's going to be ridge number 3. And so, okay, so that's why it was slanted, because it was in a hip rafter plane. So now we go to structure, beam. This is okay. I'm going to close it, and then I'll come here and click. And now we see that it is straight. So most times it's going over the line. If your line doesn't show, click and then drag the line to drawing it in the direction of this beam. So I'll go over to, I think this was south elevation, where we are seeing the wood sideways. I'm checking, okay? So this is it. It is the east elevation. So I will select it, select the east elevation. And this is our reference plane. Remember, we go back to the Z justification and make it top. And then we'll make this offset value 0. Click on this. And my mouse is delete, and then 0. So we apply. We see that it's directly at that point. So it's supposed to flow from this to this. So I'll come to the arrow and drag it to where it's supposed to be. And then once that's there, that's fine. So the next one, we need to do the hip rafter for this particular point. Now we have the ridge in place. We're going to make the hip rafter for this point going up this way. Let's see if we can copy it to here. So I'm going to do the major sections of the roof so that when we do the beam systems, it will show. My roof is complex, and let's put in this hip rafter. So I will go back to my set plane, and I will say pick a plane. I will pick the hip rafter number 3. Hip rafter number 3, and pick the beam. We'll start it out from here, this point, go up to the ridge. And then let's take a look at it from the east elevation. East elevation. So this lumber appeared straight, not on the hip rafter number 3. So I delete it. I'll go back to my roof level. What I can do is to set the reference plane again, because I'm not sure I picked the right one. So for this reference plane, I will go to this elevation so I can see it at the side. So right click on the elevation tool and say, go to view. I'm not seeing that there. Okay. I'm going to move this elevation now. So come here, right click on the triangle, go to the view. And we know that we want to place it a reference plane at this line. This is the roof that comes second, the second highest point in the roof, and it goes down this way. So I'm going to create a reference plane there. For that, I'll type RP, and I'll come to this roof that we want to work on and draw the line, and click to rename. So hip rafter 4. Okay, so we have our hip rafter 4, and then we go to the roof level. That's the point where we put this plane now. We want to put in the hip rafter for that, hip rafter 4. So I go to architecture, and then next set the working plane and select hip rafter 4 as a working plane, the big plane hip rafter 4. Okay. So now that we have that, we go to structure, select beam, and the beam is already on dimension 2x6 lumbar. So I'll come to this edge here and zoom in into that point. Oops, I lost it. And my thing stopped here. So I'll go back to that elevation that I can see it. It's this one. Right click and go into the view. And I can see that we stop far off. Let's see what happens here. So this is the second height. And it's appearing horizontal, so that is not good for our settings. My reference plane, I select it. Select this reference plane. So 6.2, rafter 4. So something is wrong here. So architecture, set working plane. Okay, I set the structural, but I did not set the architectural. So architectural working plane is hip rafter 4. Okay. So I want to go to the roof plan to take care of this roof level. Sorry. So open the view of the roof level. And looking at the drawing, I wanted the second highest point. So it's this line here. So I go to structure, select the beam, and then come here and then drag it up. Okay, so it's in the east elevation, we can really view it. Look at the wood coming down and how to arrange it. Just select it and come over here. The Z justification we want it to be it's bottom now, so I click on it and make it the top. And then the Z offset value, make it 0. 0 and apply. Okay. So right now it has moved to under the roof, and we can adjust it to the height of the ridge that is working with. So this is the ridge, and that's it. I can drag this to this point and then drag this to this point, and that's it. So I have the hip rafter for this edge. So we go to the roof level. You see that we're getting the main the sections of our roof. So if we want to get this point, all we need to do is to mirror this one. I'm going to select it, do a mirror, and I come to the middle of this line. Select it. Okay, get the middle easier for me. And click. So that it's appearing on this other side. So this is a huge chunk of the roof that's coming down. And then these two are also reference points, you know. Even this point, I was thinking I could copy this. So let me copy it again and see what happens. Cancel. Select here. Use your arrow. Select it. Copy. I pick it from here. And I take it to here. Okay, and let's see how that pans out. We'll go to the elevation here. Go to the view, go to elevation view. Oops, it's still higher. Okay. So what we need to do now is to delete that and create one with that plane. So the roof level, and yeah, I'll create one for this point. Just that it doesn't. Okay, I see that. I'm using the wrong side. I'll try working with this other beam. So select this, copy it from here and take it here, because this is working with this beam. It's supposed to work with both sides, so let's see if it's gonna work. So this way, go to elevation view. See, works. So that's beam is hiding behind one of these, so I'm going to adjust it in the roof level. So come here, select it. And then opens one with double click, so I'm not saving, I'm not using that. Select this, okay? Close. No. So I'm going to try to just click once, okay? And then drag this back to this point. Okay, so we have our major edges, and this tells us that this point will work with here or here, but I'll copy this one. So once you have this repeated, so click on it, copy, click on this one, and drop it there. So I'll go to this elevation to view it. Right click on the triangle and say go to elevation view. And let's see what we have here. So this is higher. And it begs the question, this will be the right thing. So I'll check my roof level. East, north. I think west is the one we want to see. Okay. So yeah, this is hanging, it's flying in the air, because let's see, might need to bring it down to here. So bring it down to the ridge, okay? And looks like that is in place. So let's do this last one. Okay. So for this particular side, this will be the next ridge. And if we want to do it sideways, we need to look from this side, go to elevation view. So create a reference plane there, RP, and then come to this horizontal line and draw. Click to name, so ridge number 5, ridge 5, okay? And then we have another reference plane here, RP. I'll draw it this way. Click. And this will be hip rafter. And this will be 6, hip rafter 6, because we have drawn one before. Escape along by reference plane. So we have 2 new reference planes. And we'll go back to our roof level. We go to architecture, set the reference plane to hip ridge number 5. Okay. So all we need to do is get our structure, beam, and come over here and draw this. Okay. So I need to go to this 3D view now. Center, and then turn it around. We are drawing, we're drawing this side. We're drawing this side. Okay. So back to that west elevation. I can't set anything yet. So in this west elevation, we can adjust this to where it starts, which is somewhere here. Now we want to adjust the height. So Z offset value 0. Make it 0. Click, and then put a 0. And then come to the Z justification. Pick top, apply. Okay, so I can move this. Okay, this should touch. It should be wood to wood member. So I'm connecting the wooden members together. And the next one, we want to do this heap rafter that comes down to the end here. For that, go back to the roof level, set the plane to the heap rafter 6. Of the texture, set plane to the plane to heap rafter 6. Okay. And so we pick in the structure, the beam. We're not making any settings now. Click on the beam and come over here. Okay. So going back to the west elevation, cancel. We see the beam is up there. Let's set the heights. Click on it. And come to the Z justification. Let this be top. And then the offset value 0, apply. Okay, and then I would adjust this to suit the height. Okay. Once we have that, we go to the roof level and we want to mirror this one. So click on this and then say mirror by drawing an axis. We have another roof there. And I'm going to copy this one. First, I click to select normally. We have our parts. I'm going to copy this and place at this value. So this is even needing adjustment because it's not long, not getting to the end. So I'll go to my, no, let me go to the 3D view. Okay, in this